Hey, welcome all. Welcome to the Hyderabad Power Apps and Power Automate user group. Welcome to the June meetup. I hope you all are doing good and staying safe at home. And thank you so much for joining on a Saturday. I know it's a little difficult to manage your time on a Saturday, but thank you so much for joining us. Today we have two sessions which are fully loaded on Power Platform. So first one we have Olister Rumao with us, and he is going to talk about the CRM capabilities of Business Central. After that, I'll continue and I'll share some knowledge about understanding restrictive access in Power Apps portals. So we will have these two sessions today. So maybe we can get started now. Olister, hey, can you hear me?
Yes, hi everyone. This is Olister. I'm just sharing my screen. All right, please let me know if you can view my screen and I'll get started.
Um, yes, Olister. So I added it onto the stream. You can continue.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so hi, this is Olister. And today I'll be presenting on the CRM capabilities of Business Central. Basically, the reason why I chose this topic is Business Central is known as the ERP, but when it comes to the CRM side for Dynamics, generally D365 for sales or D365 customer service are the preferred options. But if you're working with Business Central for quite some time and you just want to get maintain some small tasks and manage some CRM capabilities. It's already there in Business Central. Probably you might have not used it. So that's the reason I have chosen this topic for today. Okay. So moving on, I'm a Dynamics 365 Business Central consultant at CloudFronts Mumbai. You can scan the QR code to connect me on LinkedIn, and this is my blog. Basically, I post uh, something or the other, like my research content or anything related to any functionalities. If I find something new, I post it on my blog here. Okay, so all right, so the today's agenda is basically to understand CRM capabilities and what all parts are present in CRM capabilities. We will just have a small overview. We'll set up the relationship management module. We'll manage contacts, segments, interactions, and sales opportunities. Okay, so under the overview, I'll be basically talking about the list of entities that are present and how they are connected, and uh, basically like how we can process from one UI page to another page, and how the overall process is goes back. Okay, so we'll be discussing about salesperson, purchasers, contacts, tasks, teams, activities, business relations, campaigns, opportunities, interactions, and sales cycle. All right, so this is the overall map of how things are linked. Basically, if you want to start with the CRM module, it is ideally the salesperson purchaser, which is in the middle here, is the starting point because all the entities are accessible from here. But overall, as per the relationships that you can see, you can manage pretty much everything from almost some parts of each of the entities. So this is basically a diagram that I have drew from the processes point of view, and uh, from a development point of view as to how things are linked, and how you can manage things. Okay, so we are going to set up the relationship management, which includes marketing setup and sales people page. Okay, so moving on to marketing setup. Basically, you this is like a marketing setup page on Business Central, just like any other setups like general ledger setups or purchase and payables or sales and receivables. So this is like the same, this is the marketing setup where you can enable salesperson code, territory code, country, region, language. So basically these details will be filled on whenever you're taking any information from the lead or opportunity. And a couple of things here is basically like the setups when it comes to data. So what sort of language are you looking into, or the email correspondence, do you prefer it phone or email? You can just check that here. uh, any salutations that you want to give, or any sales cycles that you have, or like different companies have different sales cycles for different projects, so any default sales cycle you want, so on and so forth. Moving on, we have the important one is the business relation code for. So for example, whenever I create a customer or a vendor, I also need a contact associated with it, right? So this cust, vend, bank, employees, these are the templates which sets up the business relationship for you. And if it's not selected, basically whenever you create a contact, whenever you create a customer, the contact will not be created if you have not selected it. Okay. Then we have numberings setups, just like what we have on general ledger setup, for opportunities, task segments, campaigns, and contacts. How do you maintain duplicate contacts and searches? You can basically enable it, and automatically duplication should be removed to a quite some extent. Then when it comes to basically marketing, the only thing that it boils down to is the interaction. And basically you need to know everything about that interaction. So basically you have to log emails. Okay, so you can enable logging of emails from here at the bottom. If you see the email logging section, when I put my details, it will ask for a verification or an authorization permission, and after that the email is set up. Okay, so moving on, this is the salesperson purchaser code. You have codes associated with it. You have couple of basic details like name, title, phone number, email, etc. And even to some extent commission is there, because the salesperson basically generates the sales for the company, right? Okay, so now we will move on to managing contacts. So this is the contact card. Basically, if you go and search in Business Central for contacts, you'll be seeing this sort of a page whenever you are adding anything. So the thing here to notice is basically, first, the number is automatically generated. The name you have to fill in. uh, Type should be company or person. So basically, if I'm creating a customer, and that customer uh, is basically a company. So let's say if I'm talking about Amazon as my customer, so it's a company, right? So I can select the type as company. But within Amazon, if let's say there is someone, uh, let's say Mahesh, who works in Amazon, and he's my frequent contactor, so I have to change the type to person. The company name basically associates his contact with that contact of the company. Let's say if I'm talking about contact person Mahesh, in this case the type will become person, and the company number will still be the company through which we are uh, linking this contact. Okay, in business relation, if you check on it, you will get whether you have customers for it, for vendors for it, employees, etc. And then whatever interaction you do with that contact, these can be seen under the interaction log entries. Okay, so let's see, I made a phone call. I can put it, I can it will be seen as an interaction. If I click on the comment, basically I'll understand what were the minutes of the discussion, and I can check those things out. Then we have communication and address details below that you can fill in. uh, Moving on, we have even a couple of questionnaires. So not every time you might require this, but first few times I need to know what sort of questions I need to ask to right people, right? So in that case, basically these are the questionnaires, and if they have any answers to it, I can put those here. So let's say if I'm talking about Amazon, I need to know what is their delivery period, what are their commission charges, what are their service charges, etc. Right? So I can put it in the profile questionnaire below. Okay, so moving on, when I click on the business relation, if you can see here, these are the list of business relation I have with this company. So I have a customer as well as I have a vendor, so I can go and this is basically easier for me to go and find the customer and do any sales transaction, or if it's a vendor, I do any purchase transactions. Okay, then we have job responsibilities. So job responsibilities is again coming back to the contact person. Basically this person is working for this company, and let's say he's handling freight or marketing activities. So how do I contact it, and how do I know? So I can segment the contact by his job responsibilities as well. Then you have segments, which is like an industry group. So what this does is it will group your contacts as per those industry criteria. So for example, if I'm talking about a person who is dealing with engineering, uh, who's working in the engineering team, so in this case I can group it out. I can group this contact out so that if I need any more help, let's say not particularly related to this contact but some other contact as well, I can simply find the list of contacts that are present in that specific industry group, and I can give a call and verify if I need anything. Okay, then we have mailing groups. So mailing groups are the ones, like every once a year, sort of, this is sort of like a subscription where every month there is some newsletter that goes out, or maybe at during the Christmas time, do you want to send any gifts or any cards? I can set that up for the contacts as well. And then finally, if you can see, these are the profile questions. So in this case, whenever I ask a couple of questions, I also need to know the predefined set of answers. So as you can see, in this case, let's say I'm asking the question number of employees. I can select how many employees that I want. So I can criteria give criteria to this contact. Okay, uh, moving on to action. So what all things you can do, or what all processes you can execute from the contact card is basically the actions. Let's say I want to create it as a customer, vendor, bank, employee, whatever. So I can use that. Then this is the interaction. In this case, let's say I want to make a phone call, or let's say there are two contacts and I want to merge them together. I can do it from here. uh, Similarly, let's say a contact is not always required to be created from customers or vendors. Let's say I have a new opportunity that is going to come up. So what I'll do is I'll create a contact for that person here, and from that contact person I can create an opportunity, um, understand what that the potential customer needs, and uh, see if I can convert it into my into a sale. Okay, so okay, moving on. All right, so then just as I said, with regards to the business relation, the industry groups, let's say I'm talking about mailing groups, so I can take a look at it under the related section of the contact card, and I can navigate from here. Similarly, for a relation group as well, I can check the segments, mailing groups, customers, vendors, whatever are present. I can go and directly visit or process from here. Then if you know, for any sales cycle, basically there are a list of tasks that are needed to be performed. So whatever tasks are assigned to this contact, I can check here. I can check the opportunities if there are any interactions, like let's say I need to follow up on anything or something. So I can check the postponed interactions from here. I can check out the number of documents or the sales codes that are sent over here, and if there are any historic transactions. So coming to segments is nothing but uh, grouping of contacts into some criterias, and let's see what we can do here. So first is segment creation. So let's say I'm I'm a bank, and I'm targeting those customers or contacts who will be who will be creating fixed deposits. Okay, so what I can do is I can create a segment, add the list of contacts here, and whatever is my interaction with them. Let's say I want to send a mail, I want to give them a call or something like that. I can basically group these contacts for any further activities that I need to perform. So this is the segment card wherein you fill in the basic details, what all you need to do here, who is the salesperson, and in the line section, if you see these are the list of contacts. Okay, so basically what you can do is business central has given you the tool to add these contacts in a very smart manner. You can go and manually add them, of course, but let's say, as I mentioned, right, I want to just target the employees whose job responsibility code is of the type marketing. So I'll just select that, and I need to do it for a specific set of salesperson. So let's say myself, I am a salesperson, I have contacted hundreds of contacts, but I want to choose only 10 contacts out of those who are working in the marketing team. So I can basically choose those salespersons and those job responsibilities filters. So what you can initially also do is, you see the list of filters where you have contact profile answers. So on the basis of those questions that were asked, you can filter out here. You can filter out by mailing group, also by interaction, whatever has happened, you can put them here as well. And if you have a specific vertical or a group, you can add filters on it as well. So when I add it, the list is coming up. Now I need to log this segment, which means I need to check the interactions that are happening. So if you see over here in the segment card, there's a log button. When I click on it, it will say, do you want to create any attachments or anything that you want to send out through mailing? And let's say I have created this segment. Now my first step is sending out email. My second step is maybe just giving them a call to confirm, just like what you get for credit cards, right? So I can just click on create follow up, and I can move ahead with it. If not, just disable it and click on OK, and that should end the whole logging thing there. So as you can see, you will see that there is a segment which is logged, and you'll see the number of interactions. So number of interactions is, let's say I've sent mails to 10 contacts, so those many interactions you'll see over here. Okay, then I can basically cancel the interaction if I want, or maybe if I have to resend it. Let's say somebody says that, hey, my mail got lost, or maybe there might be some issue, so I can switch to cancel if I want to. I can delete it, I can resend it. Okay, so that's basically the functionalities for logged. Then yeah, so this is the resend one, where you can select the what all segment interactions you did. You can basically resend them all again. And now from here, from the logged interaction, you can also go and check the interaction log entry, so which means that whatever are the individual interactions, you can also go and check them out. Okay, so these are the individual interactions that happened with these two contact persons, and uh, what is the log for it. Okay, moving on. So interactions, if you must have understood, interactions are any kind of communications that are initiated from the uh, from business central, or from the contacts end. And you basically, why these interactions are important is basically twofold. First is, we need to understand the requirements of the customer. Basically, without the requirements, the customer will not accept what we are there to what we will be providing, correct? So our requirements, their requirements, and our product or service should fit as per the requirements, right? Second thing is, basically we will also understand, uh, like, apart from, let's say if I'm in software service company. Okay, apart from the service, let's say they need to manage any kind of service agreements, or maybe they want some kind of a hardware equipment. So I can also create interactions for these as well, so that I can service them later, or maybe I can uh, assign it to some other partner or something like that. So this will basically keep the history of what's happening. So let's move on to interactions. uh, The first one is basically setting up the template. So first is um, like whenever you're sending emails, what sort of emails you want. Like these are like number series sort of codes, and for those each of the codes uh, there are some setups that are done. Okay, so for emailing, what sort of code I'm going to use. For let's say cover sheets, what sort of code I'm going to use. And for each of these codes there are a couple of setups. So let's say if I'm talking about emails, then maybe I'll send an attachment. I'll not sort of like a type of exchange. Is it going from BC to the contact or contact to BC? I can record it here. Okay. Let's say I'm sending any purchase codes or any quotations or any other documents. I can log it from here. So this is the interaction setup sort of, where you can configure things uh, as per the templates. Okay, and those templates you are using on that template setup page. So in this case I can also go and check uh, based upon the interaction templates, how many number of interactions have happened and how much cost is it going to it has taken. So, and the duration in the time. Okay, so I'll go and create an interaction. So let's say I want to interact for the client on site, let's say. Okay, so in this case I'll be creating this interaction, and I'll be putting automatically most of the details are going to come up. And when uh, let's say when I go and I do an interaction, so I'll just write down whatever come the minutes of those meetings or interactions are, and I'll just give a comment here. And once that is done, um, so I can add up contact if I want to. Like if I want to send any minutes of the meeting out to the customer, I can put in the contact here, and the interaction type and what all details happened. Sorry. Okay, what all details happen, how much time it went, and how much am I going to charge the customer. Okay, so those all details I can fill it up. And once I do it, this is the invite that is being sent out, uh, or this is the sorry this is the email that is being sent out. And I will basically, this is the interaction that happens with the customer on a formal basis. Okay, now moving on. So once I had this interaction, I'll know what sort of an evaluation was it positive, negative, if there was any attachment, if there are any costs associated with it. So I can gather these details from the interaction log entries. Then if for some reason, let's say my interaction is postponed, I can go and postpone it. I can, and it will come in the postponed interaction log entries. So if I go and click on resume, in that case that interaction will be opened again. I can set up meetings as per the availability, and I can then log it again. Okay, for every interaction there are tasks associated with it. So let's say I want to verify if it's a good opportunity. I want to give the contact a call or confirm. I want to identify key persons. So these are the list of tasks that you can see from the interaction as well. And along with that you will understand the priority, the status, maybe comments. There are comments as well, but you can create tasks and subtasks, and you can go on closing them as in how it's needed. Okay, so when I open the task, I'll get, this is the task card. I'll be getting the description, who is assigned. Salesperson is the person who is assigned on the task, what contact I'm talking about, what's the status, uh, how this interaction or the task should go on. And there are some couple of notes, as in let's say I tried and give them a call but they are not ready. So I just write it couldn't reach to this team, and let's say after some time I try it again and say that they pick up the call, so they schedule for a meeting and I can set it up here. Okay, so this is the task which is created. uh, this is another task which is created to confirm. uh, okay, now in order to like this task, it's not needed that only one person should achieve it. I can also give it to the whole team. So I can assign this whole activity over to other, like, team as well as a salesperson. So this is what is assigning of tasks looks like. And after assigning, I will understand that who all are going to do what. So all that task that is created, it will be updated over here. Okay. um, all right. So I have this task created. Now I need to do a couple of things. So I want to identify a couple of people who all are there in this task, like what contacts I should contact, what is the interaction template, so on and so forth. I can fill it out. So basically, every task that you do has an interaction or not. You can log this out to which contacts you're doing it. It's there. What is it costing to your company? That is there. And interaction template is basically to send out interactions if needed. And yeah, basically pretty much this is the task. So activities are basically a collaboration of tasks become activities, and inside that task, inside those activities, you can add multiple groupings for those tasks. So for example, in this case, I want to do any company presentation. So at the first meeting, we basically go and introduce our company, so I need to know the company presentation. Then initial tasks are like uh, getting requirement documents, or maybe like sending them a couple of questionnaires. So that is part of the initial tasks, if there are any understanding that needs to be done. So this is the list of activities, and in every activity you will see a list of tasks and how they're going to be due. So for example, my first activity went on today. My next activity, I wanted to be completed by within a week. Okay, so that's why date formula here uh, my date formula here becomes +1. Okay, what type of interaction was it? I can put it over here. Okay, so I can assign these activities over opportunities, sorry, over interactions. And I can also assign these tasks to a team member or a salesperson or a team. Okay, so now let's go and see how we can manage opportunities. So what all we are going to cover is the campaigns, the segments, the sales price, uh, the sales cycle, and how the whole opportunity progresses in Business Central. So let's say I want to sell my product, and I take a place in the Maker Fair. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm creating a campaign. I'll record the interactions. I'll showcase some of my products. So this is the campaign that I have created. I'll fill in with the basic details and who is going to handle this campaign. Uh, and under this campaign, I can create a list of segments. So in segments, I'll have a couple of contacts whom I'm going to interact with. And if you can see, this is still the segments page from which I'm interacting uh, during the campaign. Okay, and I can log the interactions as well as I can add contacts as and how it's needed. Okay, so once that campaign is created, okay, there are a couple of, let's say, once I interact, I have decided on a sales price for a specific product, let's say. So I can go the minimum quantity, the unit price for that product. Let's say I'll give it a expiry date, like from this date to this date. If you buy, it will be costing this much. So this is the campaign activity that is being created for that sales price. Okay, so this campaign basically means that I can sell a specific set of products to a customer at specific rate for a specific duration of time, let's say. Okay, so these are the sales prices that which we can create from this campaign. And once those interactions are done, I can just check what all campaign entries have been made, just like the interaction logs. Okay, uh, and this I can use it further in the sales cycle. So this is the sales cycle that we are going to create. Basically, what sales cycle means is once an opportunity comes, the process through which we drive through the whole sales cycle. So now the sales cycle is basically um, sort of like there is stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and in every stage there are a list of activities, and in every activities there are a list of tasks. For every tasks there are a list of key assignables, and how we are going to proceed with it. Okay, so these are the two, let's say, sales cycle for any existing customer, for new customers. Okay, and in every sales cycle, so let's say I want to create a new customer, so I'll be having initialization, qualifications, presentation, proposal, and signing the contract. Now in this, uh, let's say if I've done the initialization, how much percentage of the time will the contract be closed, so that I can put it here for every cycle. Let's say there are some cycles where first two stages are done but the third stage does not arrive, which means the chances of we receiving or any orders from that customer will be just like 2 to 5%. Okay, so that's what we can put in here. And for every opportunities, so whenever I do any kind of sales cycle, there is an opportunity code associated with it. So let's say I lost it, I won it, what sort of opportunity closing it was. Okay, so I can put it in close opportunity codes. Now I will be going and creating an opportunity card. Okay, so in this opportunity card I'll be putting in the details, the contact number for the details. And if you can see below, the sales cycle is missing. Okay, so I have not initialized any sales cycle yet, but I have selected my sales cycle, which means this is a new customer who's going to come up. So when I initialize it, I can see the list of sales cycles that I have achieved so far, and how much it has costed, what is the probability that this customer will come, so on and so forth is being interacted over here. So once this task is completed, what I'll do is I'll move to the next cycle, right? So let's say I'm doing, like, I want to move to the next cycle, so I'll just select the action type as next. Automatically it will fill in a couple of details, and on the first interaction only, what sort of um, sales is expected, how much do you think the sales will come up, so you can fill in those details over here. And then accordingly the second stage is enabled, where you will see what all details we filled in the previous one, those can be checked out. So similarly, after a couple of iterations of moving to the next cycle, uh, you will see that the opportunity that you have created, how far it has went, and how much interaction you have done with it, and what all tasks are there in those opportunities, correct? So in this task, if you go and see, you will see that I have to verify qualification for the opportunity, who is going to do it. So currently it is okay, so there is no, yeah, currently it is assigned to the salesperson, but if there is a team, you can see it over here. If your opportunity comes from a campaign, okay, so you can assign that campaign over here as well. Okay, and if the task is closed or not closed, what type of task it is, so on and so forth, you can check over here. Now once my qualification is done, let's say I want to send an email out. Okay, uh, so in this case, whenever I'm going to send an email out, okay, I have to make sure that the sales cycle is in such a way that I give them the quotation. Okay, I can make it mandatory, so I can uh, create an interaction from here, and I can send this quotation out. So if you see, it says that you cannot go to the next sales cycle without a quote. Okay, so first I need to go and create a sales quote and send it out to the customer. So once I create a sales quote and send it out, now it will let me create the sales cycle, and so on and so forth. I can add those many cycles as I move ahead. So once I know that the contract is signed, which means the customer is for sure now coming out. Okay, so this is the sales cycle, uh, and how we move ahead. Now once this opportunity is done, now I need to mark that this opportunity is complete. Either I lost it or I won it. I have to put those status in. And how did I close this opportunity, on the basis of what? So when I close it, let's say I gave them a little lower price, so I want to, just to uh, keep a log of how I close this opportunity. I can set up this close opportunity code that we have seen previously, and what date, what amount. So I can close this opportunity from this page. And if you can see, the status has become one, and basically this opportunity will deactivate now. Okay, so that's basically it with regards to the CRM capabilities of Business Central. Uh, if you have any questions or doubts, you can go ahead and ask in the chat. But yeah, and if you want to contact me, here is my contact details. And yeah, if you have any questions, please go ahead.
Yes, Olister. So we have a few questions on the chat, and I have shared your connect credentials like your LinkedIn, Twitter, and your personal blog on the chat. So if anyone you want to connect to Olister, please reach out to him. And regarding the questions, so first question we have is there any way to get business central data in model driven apps or portal apps?
Yes. So I'm not sure about model driven apps because I think the structure of model driven apps is pretty much confined. But when it comes to Business Central and getting data from Business Central, you can make use of APIs and web services that are given by Business Central. And you can basically pull that data into CDS or anything like SharePoint list if needed, so that you can use it in your Power Apps or portals. I hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Alistair. The next one we have can I publish a Power BI dashboard to Business Central and have a Dataverse data also on it?
So basically, you can, just that you might have to do some level of customization in Business Central, uh, because whenever you're going to publish any data through Power BI, there are some standard templates which are given by Microsoft. But whenever you're going to publish anything through Power BI, I believe it is going to be like you're publishing the dashboard or any report, just like you publish an iframe, right? So to view that iframe in Business Central, you'll need a little bit of customization. And you can of course you can run those reports from the Dataverse as the data source.
Shehbaz, I hope that answers your question. If not, please feel free to drop a message on the chat. Next up, we have you mentioned something about templates for interaction. So, is
Correct.
it something out of the box or custom? And there is a second part also. Can I share these templates with other users?
Yeah, so basically templates are given by Business Central out of the box only, but you can go and create your own templates. And basically you can, because for those particular tenant of Business Central, the users that are present on Business Central, they should also have the access to the same templates. But if you have anything that you can share, of course you can go ahead and share and create. It's only about the setup that needs to be done.
Okay, and that was another question from Shehbaz. So, Shehbaz, please let us know in case there is any other query. And one last question, can I get Business Central data in Canvas apps? And second part is any limitations to keep in mind?
Sorry, what's the second part?
Any limitations to keep in mind?
Okay, so in order to get your data into Canvas apps, basically the data source that is going to be is serious. So I think you basically can pull any data from Business Central with the use of web services. What I think from are the limitations will be maybe the number of records that are going to be processed, and uh, how are they are going to be processed, like in a synchronous or an asynchronous way. So the limitations here could be the number of records that can be pulled or pushed out from Business Central using web services. It is limited to 10,000 records in Business Central, but I'm not sure about the CDS part. And when it comes to Canvas apps, of course, you can pull the data into CDS, and you can set tables or any other forms with that data source from the CDS.
Okay, Alistair, so these were the only questions we have on the chat. Is there anything else you want to share, or maybe if you want to share any additional information on the chat, uh, you can do that. I mean, I have
Um,
already pasted, yeah, your
mhm.
social
Yeah, okay,
connects.
definitely. I don't have anything else. I just wanted to, just give out my knowledge on CRM, and it's a very exciting and vast module actually. Uh, just like the finance module in Business Central. So I hope that people start using this module, and because it is sort of like an underappreciated module. So yeah, that's the whole purpose of today's webinar. Uh, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, and even you can check out my blogs. And other than that, yeah, I'll just share my email address on the chat. I guess that's all I have for today. If you have any specific questions, I'm more than happy to answer them right now.
Okay, Lister, have you pasted your? Okay, I got that on the private chat. Just give me a second. I'll paste your email as well and highlight it on public comments. All right, so I shared Olister's email on the chat. You can reach out to him if you have any questions. Feel free to ask him. And thank you, Olister, for presenting this session today. I know this is a relatively new topic, so thank you for sharing the information. Even I didn't know a lot of things, so I got to know them today. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.
Have a great day and have a great week. Bye.
Yes, you are as well.
Yeah,
Thank you. Bye.
thank you. Thank you. All right, so that was Olister. Now we have our second session, which is about restricting access to Power Apps portals. So I'll be presenting my screen for that. Okay, so I'm in. Welcome all, and in this session, we are going to talk about the different aspects of security you can maintain in a Power Apps portal application. So, when we talk about Power Apps portals, there are certain things we want to keep in mind considering the security because it can be accessed by anyone across the globe if we have not, you know, applied any restriction. So think about a scenario if the security is not configured properly, anyone from the globe can see your data in a way where it should not be displayed to the user. So that you know that affects the security or the authenticity of your data. To avoid that, setting up proper restrictive access in your portal application is very important. So before we start, I'll give a basic little introduction about myself. I am Ritika Agarwal and I am a Microsoft MVP and MCT for business application. I have been working on Power Platform for about 3 years now, and my major areas which I like, or major components that I like to work includes Canvas app, Power Apps portals, and Power Automate. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I have my QR code on the screen. You can also reach out to me on Twitter, where I have shared my Twitter handle. You can check out on the screen that as well. Apart from this, I have a personal blog where I like to post about my learnings and anything that I found interesting uh, on the portal or overall Power platform. So I like to blog about that, and you can check my blog, which is agrawalritika.com. So here you'll find different content on Power Apps portal. Usually, I'm writing about Power Apps portals because I feel that this is a component which we can explore a lot. So that's it about me. You can connect to me if you have any questions. Coming to Power Apps portals overview. So if you do not know this already, Power Apps portal is a kind of application that can be shared with anyone across the globe. So If we talk about the other two kind of application which exist on Power Platform, Canvas app or model driven app, they can be only shared with people inside your Azure Active Directory or maybe your Office 365 directory. In case of Power Apps Portal, it is an external website which can be shared with anyone, and you just need to share the URL. There are certain configuration you can set on securing the properties, like only allow certain set of IP addresses to access it. But that is a very specific use case of a specific application. In general, it is used and it is shared with so many other users at the same time. So we have three kind of users which could access your Power Apps portal application. One is the internal user. Internal users are those who are inside your Office 365 directory and they have appropriate maybe licensing for on Dataverse or Power Platform as a whole. Another set of users can be authenticated users, which means anyone who is not in your Office directory but they have the URL and they are accessing it, but they are still logged in with the help of any identity provider. Maybe it could be Facebook, Microsoft, LinkedIn. There are certain options which are available, but if you want to like you already have a system for authentication management, then you can use Okta service provider also, or any other service provider which can be integrated. So those are the authenticated user. The third kind is anonymous. As the name suggests, it is those type of users who can just view the data without having to provide their identity. They can come, they will be like public pages which can be easily accessed via any URL. So this way we have different set of permissions as well as access levels defined in Power Apps portal that you can control. Let's say there is a table called as projects or requests, and I only want the users to be able to see their records. If there are 100 users on my application which are using my Power Apps portal, and I am logging in, so I should be able to see only my records. I should not be able to see the records of other 99 people. Same is the case with those. If any one of those 99 people are logging, they should not be able to see my records. So that is very important when you're building a public facing website which can be accessed anywhere. And Microsoft Dataverse data is very restricted in terms of access. Even if we talk about the using it inside the environment, there also it has granular levels decided on the basis of security rule. So keeping that data secured even on a third or sorry uh, external facing website is very important. So that's where the security comes. And if we talk about portal security, we can set it up at different levels. One could be on the website permissions. So at the website level, where I specify, okay, these set of users are allowed to see my website. If they satisfy the criteria, they can go and they can resolve the pages. But if let's say I don't want certain set of users to be to access my application, I can restrict such access. And there is one additional property which is available where you can specify different IP addresses along with their subnet to get details of who can see your data. So this way, one can be applied on the whole website level. Another set of permissions can be applied on the web page level. When I say web page, it means on a single page. If I have let's say my whole application is consisting of 25 pages and I want to make 15 of them public, like anyone can come in and see it. An example could be your FAQ page. Everyone should be able to see your FAQ page because that is something which gives out information based on your application or help other users easily understand what your application is doing and how they can troubleshoot in case there are any errors or any other failures seen. But another set of pages which may require only restricted access could be your requests, my profile, or maybe from an admin perspective, I can see reviews or I can also see things which are pending my approval, something like that. So in those cases we may want to add additional security at page level, which comes under web page access control. We'll see in a little bit how this is handled on Power Apps portal, and how we can actually give someone an access to to a specific page or not. Then comes the table permissions. If you have heard of entity permissions earlier, this is the same thing because of the terminology changes which are happening on the Power platform. Because of those, the name is changed, and to maintain the consistency of terminology change from entity to table, it is kept this way. Now, just wanted to give you a little bit, update on the terminology changes. If you have worked with Dataverse, you may know this already, but if you're working with Power Apps portal, database, Dataverse is the data source which gets connected to it. It's the only place from where you can get data. So when it comes to terminology changes, Common Data Service is now Microsoft Dataverse. Then entity is now called as table. Fields or attributes is now called columns. Then we have records. Records is now called as rows. Then there is option set and pick list. They are now choice and choices column. Then we had uh, two options column like yes and no. Two options column, which is now yes and no column. So there are certain changes, but if you will work on Dataverse a little bit, you will get to know those terminologies, and they are getting replicated on the portals also. If you have a portal application which maybe you created few months back, it will still say entity permission. But if you create a new portal application, there the terminology will be updated, and you will be able to see table permissions instead of entity permissions. Now, contact table, I would say, is the backbone of Power Apps portal security, because what happens is when you log into a Power Apps portal app, you are identified as a contact. Even if you are a user inside your Office 365 directory, still you are considered as a contact, which can be uh, identified as an individual entity, and like an individual person. So even if you have a record in users, because you are an Office 365 user, whenever you log in, on your first login, a contact record will be created for you. And managing security in terms of logged in user context, you have to use the contact table for that, and it will identify which user is there, like what is the email ID that you are using. And even if you are using any third party service provider, then they will also create a contact, and you can map the fields, and while setting up the permissions there. Another set of table which plays a major role is account. Because let's say there is a scenario where I have built a Power Apps portal application, an external application for my clients. It's not for any general public user, but for my clients. Now, if my data is corresponding to a client, I can have two or three individuals logging into my portal from that company or from that client. So to maintain the visibility of data in a way where the you know records or data I am seeing on the portal application is handled on the basis of uh, client, like the whole organization, rather than the individual user, in that case I can go with the account table. But usually it starts with the contact only, because the portal knows you as a contact. Now whatever account you are associated with, it will be passed in the account field of your contact record. So that is like a secondary detail you will get from your contact. So this is why, if you want to set security, maybe either on the basis of a single user, or on the basis of the whole organization, you can set up the or you can start setting up those permissions from the contact context, which means your current logged in user uh, basis. Then coming to web roles, and this is very important because when we are saying we are going to set up some security, how is that security going to be managed? How do I know which user has, read access, which user has maybe update access, which user has access to this page, and so on? That is something we handle with the help of web roles. So there are three roles which exist out of the box, and administrators have access to do almost everything. They can clear out the cache, and they have access to update or clear out the cache of your portal. Because if you see a Power Apps portal, it refreshes its data or it refreshes its content after every 15 to 20 minutes. It doesn't show the reflected data or updated data within seconds. It could take some time. So in order to refresh the data at any time as an administrator, you can do that. Similarly, authenticated and unauthenticated user roles work on the login context. If you are logged in, you come under authenticated user web roles, and if you are not logged in, you come under unauthenticated users web role. So these are the three options which are available. If none of these satisfies the criteria, you can anytime create a new web role which could be specific to your access, and from there you can start assigning that web role to the different contacts which are available. Now let's see all of this in action, because seeing it in action is very important when it comes to understanding the different concepts and what all different things you can do on the portal. So I'll go and I will open this. So here I am in my Power Platform environment, and I have created a Power Apps portal application where I have this application called as this. It can be accessed with the URL hhugdemo.powerappsportals.com, and in here I have it open on the edit mode. So this is the Power Apps editor, and we can set up some or manage security from here also. Like what kind of security I can set up here is on individual pages. Like, do I want to even enable security or not? If I don't want to, then I can turn it on off from here. But there is an application which you can use to see individual options along with the web roles which have access. So whenever you create a Power Apps portal application, there is a portal management application created along with it. This is like the backend of your portal application, and even if you are updating something on here on the editor, that is also getting synced in the backend. And this is where when you are familiar or when you are comfortable with working on Power Apps portal a little bit, you usually start working it from here rather than on the editor. So if I go to contacts, then I can see there are two contacts created for this. And if I go to all contacts, these are all the contacts. So I don't have much users who are accessing this portal application. So here only these two users have access. Now coming to sign in properties, like what different options are there. Okay, so I'm trying to open a page. Probably it is taking a little bit time, but here are a few options which are available. You can either create a local sign in by using the register option, provide your email, username, password, and you are in. Let's try that also. So I'll enter my email ID and I'll add the same thing in the username, and I'll add a password. Now, if I register, I'll be created as a normal user in as a contact record. So Once I am in, I want to go back and see, if my contact is created. So I refresh this. Here you see one contact is created. Whatever permission I want to manage, I can manage it from here. Right now, we do not have any first name or last name provided, so it's coming as blank there. But these are required fields, and you can only update your personal details once you fill in the first name and last name. So from here you can create a contact, like you can create a login, and every time I log in it is going to recognize this email and the password which I created. So whatever security I want to do, I can do on from here. So here, if I click on related, I can see the web roles which are associated. So this is automatically counted as an authenticated user, but I can also like assign them some access. Maybe this person can be an administrator and authenticated user. So I added both of them here. Now, another important thing is table permissions. Now I know who all are going to access my application, but how can I manage their permissions? So here, if you see, I'll go to my detail, like new table permissions. I can give this a name. Then I have to select which privilege I want to give. Let me show you my table here. So I have created a my requests page, which is visible to anyone. Let's see that what I mean. Right now I'm logged in, but even if I try to browse this URL in the incognito mode, I'll be able to see all the requests which are coming from my Dataverse table. Now, this could be a security threat, because you should not be showing the request to everyone. So let's consider the case where I want to set up this security in a way where only certain set of users, or the person who is logged in, only they can see their requests. I'm going to log out of this user because there is no backend data for the user I registered. So I'm going to log in with my Azure Active Directory, so that when I set up the permissions, I should be able to see some data which is which belongs to my context. So now let me go to data and tables, and I'm going to search here for my requests. So in this, if you see data, it is storing like this. Let me show all the custom columns. So account is there, and then there is a assigned to field which is working. So what we want to do here is, let's update a few more requests and assign it to myself. So I'm going to edit this record. Same I'll do for two records, and I'll say Ritika Agarwal. Yep, and save. Similarly, here also I'll assign it to myself and save. So now I have created two requests which belongs to my um, contact. Now if I refresh it here, I should be able to see my name also. So, okay. Now if I go back to my incognito, I can still see all the requests. So let's do this. I'll create a table permission, access to um, requests. I'll say the table is my requests, website is startle portal, and access type is on the basis of contact. And here it will ask which relationship I want to work on with contact. I don't think the assigned to field is look up to contact. Let's see. No, it is of user type. Okay. Anyways, let me do one other thing here. Instead of setting it on the basis of contact, I will set it on the basis of account. So I'll go to my permission. Instead of contact, I'll say account, and here I can select this account relationship, which corresponds to my um, firm here. And okay, so basically, if I go back to my data and I switch to custom columns, I can see this RE request 001 belongs to by the devs. And I'll also cross verify if this account is there in my contact record or not. So first I'll give the permissions. I'll say I want to give read access to the account table for my requests. And now I'm going to specify which users I'm going to give this access to. So here if I go, I can select add existing web roles, enter, and let's say I only want to give it to administrators and authenticated users. Now I'll go to contact just to verify if my contactors or my organization is account. No, it's not. So I'll say account name is by the devs and I'll save it. Now I am logged in as an administrator, so I can clear out the cache from here. Underscore services slash about. This is a URL which is only, you know, okay, I think it is single underscore. I'm sorry, I added it twice. Yep. So this is a page which is only accessible by the administrators. So I can clear the caches. So my portal app points to the latest configuration now. So I added it here, and there is one thing I forgot to check, but let's see, if that is automatically enabled or not. If we don't get the right results, I'll go back and show you how you can check that as well. So right now it didn't work. I cannot see all my records. The reason behind that is I'll go to my list. This is a entity list I have placed on my screen. And here if you see, the enable table permissions is set to off. If I set it, then only it will work on the access and different permissions. So I save this record after enabling. I'll go back just to verify it from the view. Yep, table permissions is added. I'll clear out the cache now, and let's see. Nope. One last thing I want to check whether I have given yes, so I have given access to my requests here and it is set on global. So this one is, overriding my permission. So I'll delete this. So the global access is removed. There was another permission which was affecting this. And these are some, items you should be checking once you're configuring, and there are some issues. So you can troubleshoot with the help of these, appropriately. Now let's see if it is working. Yeah. Now it is. I can only see the request which is associated with the account on my contact. So here you can set those permissions appropriately. And if I go back to the table permissions now, there are different access type which are available. Global means access to all data. Then you have contact on the basis of current logged in user contact or account. Now, let's say if there was a table which was using data from your request table, maybe request items. So let's say it's not request, but it is a, a functionality where you can place orders. So a single order will have different items associated. So you are creating a request for orders, and that order can have multiple, line items related to it. In that case, what you can do is you can get the requests on the basis of account or contact, and then you can get the items on the basis of request, because it's not going to be the case that you have a account relationship or a contact relationship on the line item table also. So that is why if you have such kind of a scenario, you can use parent relationship. So if I select parent here, it will say which is the parent table relationship, table permission I am looking for. So you can select this with access to my requests, and it will ask you to select the relationship. From there it will be like very easy to configure it that way. Now let me show you one thing. If I select this and go to my incognito browser. Now if I refresh it again, I won't be able to see anything. So my page is loaded, but I'm not seeing anything. The reason behind that is I do not have access to see any data unless I am logged in. Now, if I am not logged in, rather than showing this page where it looks like, it is still loading, why not hide it behind a, authenticator? So for that, we can use web page access controls. So I'll discard these changes because they were not, they were just there. Now I'll say new web page access control. The name is access to only authenticated users request page. Okay, so I'll select the website as starter portal. Web page can be my requests page, but here are two records coming, so let me see. Okay, it's only one, but in the search maybe I had two pages earlier. So now I'll say restrict read. This is the right I want to give. In the publishing states, I'll add the publishing state as published. Web roles, I'll say only give the access to authenticated and administrator users. So I add it. Now I'll go and refresh this cache. And if I go to requests now, I am right now logged in as Ritika Agarwal. I can open this page, I can view my details. Let's see the other one. Okay. So when I tried to open it in the incognito mode without having access to this URL, I see that I am I am here on the login page, and in the return URL, if you see, it is showing go to requests page once the user is logged in properly. So this way, using the table permissions, you can restrict the records or what kind of data you want to display. But with the web page access control, you can actually select if you want to, if you want to restrict your users from seeing that page if they do not have access to it. So this is another set of security you can apply on this data. Apart from that, um, there are a few more things. So let's say if I go to web roles and I'm not sure, I want to assign to any of these users, I can create a new web role. Similarly, I have to give its name, its website description. But here are two different properties, which is authenticated users role and anonymous users role. It means, does this web role inherit the authenticated user role and anonymous user role? If you set it as yes, it will inherit. Otherwise, it won't inherit, and you can create it from scratch. So if whatever this the requirement is, you can set it up on the basis of it, and from there you can create a new web role, and similarly just create the table permissions, assign the web role, and you can select how you want to work with it. Is it going to be global data? Because let's say the FAQ use case, if it is an FAQ question, it should be visible to everyone, so you can give it a global access. But the requests, it should be something which is only accessible by certain set of users. So that should come under a specific access type, be it account, contact, self, or parent. Self is only applicable on the contact table. If you try to select it on any other table, it will give you a error. So something like this, let's say I select any of the tables here and access type I select as self. So it will give me error. This access type is only applicable to the contact table. So you have to change the scope. If you have contact and you want to apply a self, you know, permission, then you can do that. Another one we have is website access control. So here, if you see, there are few permissions which are already given. So if I open one of these, so administrative permissions for basic portal, we can provide whether the web role we have assigned this permission to. So we have given it to administrators, so they can manage all the content snippets, they can manage site markers, they can manage web link sets and unpublished entities. So this way, as an administrator, because you should be able to see all the details. For a normal user or the person who is going to use this application, I understand you may not want to give them um, access to everything. So in that case, try doing these set of permissions individually, and from there it would be very easy. Now, this is one way of providing the permissions. Another one comes with individual controls. So, here, if you see with the list, when I enable table permissions, at that time only my permissions were applied. Even if I have created the permissions and I have not applied it on the controls, it won't make any sense. It will still show all the data because the list which is showing, or the control which is showing the records, it does not have any security layer. So this is where it is important to understand what kind of access we are talking about. Is it just going to be on the single record or someplace else? Now, same with the forms. If you have a form, it will also ask you what kind of permissions do you want to enable table permissions or not. If you want, you can do that. Otherwise, it will show on the basis of data which is selected. And one other thing you can do on the lists is, if you don't want to apply permissions, that's okay. But there is an internal filtering which is available. So here you have filter conditions. If you have the contact relationship on the selected table, then you can select it directly from here. If you just want to set it on the contact, so it's saying that on contact you can set it up on assigned to or the owning user. So this points to the user table. Then the account attribute lets you select the relationship for account, which means it will automatically filter the data based on current logged in account. If you are looking for more, global kind of a permission, if it is just on a single form, then you can use the filter conditions. But if it is like a more of a global type permission, then adding it at, individual places is more important. Okay, so those were most of the things I wanted to cover as part of our session today. Are there any questions? I'll be happy to answer those. Okay, I don't see anything on the chat, but if there are any questions that you would like to ask me, please feel free to connect to me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Keep practicing, keep try to learn the different options and components which are present on the portal, or any component in specific. Thank you so much all for joining us today. An important announcement: if you would like to talk about something as part of our monthly meetups, please feel free to reach out to me or Yash, and we can you know book you on a slot which is available maybe next month or maybe the month after. But if you want to share something with the community, please do reach out, because that's how we learn. If I am not sure of something and I want to learn something, I am sharing this with the community. So similarly, if you want to share something with the community, please reach out, and we will have you on our monthly meetup to present that. Thank you so much all for joining. We'll meet next month if there are no questions. Thank you all. Bye bye.